saying
Got
hello.
Yep.
Thanks for the reminder.
You're welcome. This is the Tuesday, June 13th, 2023 Southside Planning Forum. And I'd like to, there's a review of the minutes. They were the May 9th minutes that were sent out, I believe, yesterday. Does anyone have any questions or concerns? And if not, we would need a motion to approve.
You need a board member to do that, or a member organization.
So,
I can motion to approve.
Prepare the minutes.
Yeah.
If it's okay with everybody, I move to approve.
okay. Cara, do you want a second?
Sure, I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. So we'll now have the presentation with, I think, are we doing PED presentation, or is it, Bruce, do you have anything that you want to talk about before PED, or we move right to PED?
No, right to PED, please, Barbara. I have
Okay.
minor comment afterwards. Thank you.
Okay,
Hello, everyone. It's Allison Harnden, Nighttime Economy Manager for the City of Pittsburgh, giving an update on the Parking Enhancement District report and some nighttime economy news. In May, the Parking Enhancement District revenue was $29,357.71. Bob, do you want me to try and screen share, or?
No, give me 1 second. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. And there were no enforcement costs still. To date, in 2023, the revenue collected is $142,000, $388.98. And since the beginning of the inception of the PED, $1,162,998.34. One May expenditure was the April clean team for $13,540.48. That leaves a trust fund balance of $224,927.32. That added to the incoming revenue in 2023 still leaves us with a pretty good surplus. A couple of liquor license changes. The Speckled Egg had transferred the McCormick Schmidt and Schmicks, that's a hard word to say, liquor license to the Speckled Egg, which is in the works. And a couple of licensees surrendered their liquor license to safekeeping, which is a process that the Liquor Control Board requires if a alcohol license is not in use for some time. So those two were the Green Front at 2341 East Carson Street and 18th Bar and Grill LLC, which is Ember at 153 South 18th Street. I'm going to move into the Clean Team report. Clean Team is funded by the Parking Enhancement District funds, and there were some we spoke about this last month, I believe. There were some staffing changes, that some very new employees. And so we have good news that Artie is back this week. And Artie, if you may recall, was the Clean Team member that had a real medical scare around the holidays. And a lot of you donated to a GoFundMe, and he's extremely grateful, and he's really glad to be back on the South Side. And it will now kind of take these other new people under his wing, also with a trainer, which is Mike Walker, who used to be Artie's partner on the South Side Clean Team. So I think we're going to be back on track with how the quality of the Clean Team under those two guidance. So the trash collected 14,000 pounds, a little over that, 9 blocks of weeds abated, and we went from 20 pounds of alcohol containers to 100 pounds in one, which is 4 big garbage bags full, collected between 14th and just 14th and 17th. So this is, it coincides with the activity, the increase of activity on the street that's happened there. Again, these are not containers known to be carried out of the bars. These are containers that are big
Oh.
and that people are bringing to the street and partying in the street and leaving there. So, you know, there are some initiatives being done to work on the safety and engagement with police. And I think Bruce will probably talk a little bit about that. But if there are any questions, I'm happy to field those on what's reported so far.
Hey, Allison, I have a question for you. Can we go back to the speckled egg? Maybe I'm playing catch up here. Is speckled egg coming in to fill the old McCormick and Schmidt location?
No, they are going into
Damn.
the works. My cat is sitting on the address, sorry.
But the old McCormick and Schmidt in the works.
No,
No, McCormick and Schmidt is where the license, you know, licenses can transfer from place to place.
Yeah.
And so this was a liquor license was available and it's being transferred to 2667 Sydney. So I think, Barbara, were you trying to say something? I think you have information on that from the DAM meeting.
Is it?
we did not have a dam meeting, but I think there's been advertisements or there's been information from Southside Works that I think there's 2 businesses going in and
Mhm,
and one of them is speckled egg. But I
That
didn't
would be
realize that
wonderful.
they would have a liquor license.
Yeah, it's just, they do like, I think it's more like champagne brunch, you know,
Uh-huh.
they're not, it's not a huge, they do have, like a very small, so this is a second location for speckled egg. They have one downtown in the Trust Building. And they do a very small, kind of elegant, really happy hour, I feel like. So
Mhm.
it's not, you know, it's not a big,
Mm.
they're a well-run operation. I
Right,
guess.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, that would just be such a positive for them to come in and fill that space. And the other one is the old Sur La Table, which is, I think, a workspace, I think is
Correct.
what they're
Yeah.
doing there. Yeah.
But I think that
Okay.
we, as a community council, probably will want to get in touch with them about the liquor license. I don't know if someone can, I don't get home until the 24th. If someone can go down to see, or you may know the date of the license.
Yeah, you know, usually
Application?
by the time it gets to this point, it's usually a little further along.
Okay,
They're always, these reports that they send from the PLCB to us with all the licensing stuff is usually
yeah,
weeks old.
yeah, because it would be, you know, we, as a council, it would be nice for us to talk with them.
Mhm.
And because it is a liquor license application. So we may have missed
can,
that, but fortunately, it's not going to be a problem, but I
Yeah,
think we do want to get into the habit of
sure.
engaging with all applicants to see what else we might need to do.
I can walk over to the
Yeah.
downtown location and you know, try and catch the owner.
Yeah, I'll go with you, Allison, if that's
Okay.
helpful.
Are
I'd
you
love
in
to.
tomorrow?
You can be, sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I was gonna do the meeting from home. My car's still in
Oh, yeah.
body work done and stuff. And then my second question was about the God bless the green front. God, I miss the green front. Their license going into safekeeping. Did I dream this, or am I hearing Steve Zumoff might have an interest in going
Oh.
into the green front?
I have not heard that. That's interesting, but I was a little surprised that it's just now going into safekeeping because it's been closed for what, like a
Couple
year?
years.
So I
Yeah.
can probably pop in on that one, given that
Yeah.
it's my chief of staff's father-in-law
Oh,
Ah,
good.
who owns that establishment. Yeah, I'm not sure why Jim decided to keep it active for as long as he did, but there was no intention for them to what's the word, like reopen it or anything like
Mhm.
that, or to sell it. And I think part of it was perhaps a little bit of not being terribly familiar with some of the options and finding it easier to just renew. And so I believe my chief of staff had a conversation with him relatively recently about what
Yeah.
safekeeping was. And so that is why it's
Okay.
where it's at.
I get it now. Yeah, a lot of people don't. I mean, first of all, you're only doing it if, like there's a pandemic or, you're closing down. So it's not a rule that most people know, but I can't remember how many months if you're closed for more than 3 months or 2 months or something like that, you have to put it in safekeeping, just for the record, so people know that. But yeah, it's easily overlooked.
Hey, Jess, is he in Florida, the owner?
Of the green front?
Yeah.
No, he lives 3 blocks from me. I see him almost every morning in Dan and Jamie's coffee shop.
Is that the son then? I'm thinking of someone else maybe. I thought the father that
There
held that.
there is family, like there was family of the Zolas who lived in Florida, but it is not the owner of the
Okay.
green front.
Gotcha. That was very helpful. Thank you. And Allison, I have one more ask of you. If we could send this clean team report to Chief Scarrato, and I'll give you contact information for Bill Gotti as well. And with that, I'll go into just some minor comments that I have. Lately, I have been playing sort of the go-between between Trek Development and Oddballs. And the chief, trying to keep lines of communication open as to the impact Oddballs is having on public safety resources. And I think the fact that, how many hundreds of containers did you say we collected, Allison?
Well, it was 100, but it's 100 pounds.
100 pounds.
Yes,
Yeah.
so it's 4 bags, 4 big trash bags.
I think that's a staggering statistic to be able to share with the different videos that John DeMauro has shared with me, that I've also shared with Trek Development. I think that is concrete evidence, lack of a better word, that we can share to let them know what kinds of activities we believe are taking place on the street that we believe is associated with Oddballs. We might have some difficulty making that connection, but I think that could be a powerful piece in the argument. And then we had a meeting down at the Market House with a number of constituents. Allison Barber was there, the chief was there, a number of other people. We talked about a lot of things, but one thing that I would like to bring up that connects to the conversation we're having here is the safety lane and the confusion around the safety lane. So I had an opportunity to meet with the chief and talk that through in terms of hours of enforcement that minimizes impact on business, but accomplishes the goals that we wish to have in place, and that being police being able to respond, God forbid, in the event of an emergency. And so with the chief, I will work to reorganize the signage for 12th through 16th Street so that it is complete and comprehensive and addresses specifically what we wish to accomplish within that safety lane. Then once we have the sign off of the chief and we've had a chance to review that through planning forum, I'll ask if we could please have new signage made and installed that is much more comprehensive and understandable. The signage is just, it's become a great disservice to public safety officials and the public at large, trying to to enforce and understand what we want to accomplish with the safety lane. So I wanted to put that out there. And damn, there was one other thing and it just evaporated.
Was it about the business above?
Oh, we could talk a little bit about that. Sure, be happy to. So the Memorial Day weekend was a rough weekend. I spent that weekend on the phone. I probably should have counted down the number of calls. I bet you I took no less than 30 calls that weekend to varying different institutions to try to understand what's happening in that section of Carson Street. And so I had the opportunity to meet with the building owner at 13th and Carson that houses Hippie Town and 12 Whiskey. We had some really good movement there. In that I learned from the owner and a subsequent meeting with their property manager that they have initiated what they're calling a confession of judgment to evict Hippie Town for falsification of their lease. According to Claire, the owner of the property, she claims that they came in saying they were going to do Botox treatments in there. And of course, it's anything but that. Those of you that might be unfamiliar with Hippie Town, it is a Delta 8 storefront to sell this sort of manufactured marijuana. I'm not saying it well, that we believe might actually be legal. I think some argument around that. There is some speculation they could actually be selling marijuana. I can't prove that. I don't want to get out in the speculative. But if you go to their website, which is very easy to find, I think it's just hippietown.com, you're going to see the customer they're marketing to. And it is clearly your underage vape kind of customer with the kinds of Delta 8 flavors they're selling, such as Fruity Pebbles. So we believe that it could have some connection to the gathering of more of an underage crowd in that area of Carson Street and creating a lot of the problems we're seeing. And some of what Allison gave in her report, I think, is a bit of a verification. If we're picking up 100 pounds of empty liquor bottles, I'd be very interested, Allison, and I'm not trying to make more work for anybody, but I'd be very interested as to the kind of liquor bottles we're picking up, and if some of those could not be flavored kinds of alcohols that are geared more to an underage market. That's another conversation. But so according to the property manager, the judgment day is June 27th. If all goes well and they are successful in the eviction, it goes to the sheriff, Sheriff Kraus, that would be responsible for the eviction. I've met again with Chief Scarrato and petitioned an expedited process should that come to be. He has agreed that he would meet personally with the sheriff to ask if we do indeed receive the judgment and they are evicted, that the sheriff would effectuate that as quickly as possible. And some other good news as it relates to those kinds of storefronts. And Allison, you might want to share this because you have firsthand experience of the second location of Hippie Town in downtown, which was just recently closed.
Well, that's the news.
Oh.
I know. I get my hair cut in a place near Market Square, and Hippie Town had moved into a suite in that location as well. And when I was just there last week, I know it doesn't look like I have my hair cut, but I did. They had been moved out of there, and I spoke with the downtown police, and I don't have like all the details, but that there was also some suspicion that they could have been selling things that were that they weren't supposed to be selling. So, they are gone from that location, and I I don't know they did have a dispute with the landlord. They were not paying their rent. So that was an easy one for the landlord there to effectuate an eviction. But they didn't get to that point where they evicted. But that's all the information I have.
Yeah, they're attempting a third location on East Ohio Street. I was
Mhm.
able to meet with the PLI director, Director Kinter. We spoke at length about this sort of new burgeoning business, if you will, that's finding itself concentrated in, areas where, there's a larger clientele for their market and what that means for the future. I don't believe they've opened the location on East Ohio Street yet. And hopefully next month at this time, I may have good news to report as to the perhaps the closure of Hippie Town here at 13th and Carson. But I think that's all I have, unless anybody has a couple questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
On that same subject, I don't have details, but I was talking with someone who had gone on the home tour, not the home tour, the soup contest, and they had said that they were given a sample of something. It was a business that was, I don't know if they were on the soup contest lineup, but they were closer to Southside Works, and the person took it thinking that it might be some sort of just candy, not knowing what the business was about, and said that she was flying a little bit. She had I don't know what I want to call it, but had a reaction, and it lasted for a period of time. So I don't know, Candace, if it was someone who, was not on the soup contest, but was out there taking the opportunity to let people know that they were there. And I haven't had an opportunity to go down there or to talk to that person, but it was I think it was Anna Marie Kajanka.
Oh,
So-
I'll speak to her. This is really
Yeah.
the first time I've heard of this.
Yeah,
Nobody's brought it to my attention, but I'll talk to Anna
Mhm.
Marie.
yeah. And I think it was her. I'm not sure, and I meant to say something to you and then did not.
Okay. Thank you. I'll look into it.
Okay.
There are definitely a number of storefronts along Carson Street that sell Delta 8 and advertise it heavily. And yes, it will make you fly.
Fly.
Yeah, but they weren't invited to be part of the soup contest, I assure
Yeah.
you.
But again, they
Oh, I
took the
believe that, Ken.
opportunity. Yeah, they took the opportunity to
Yeah,
engage with people who were walking along East Carson Street.
thank you, Barbara.
Okay. And Bruce, David Glickman, correct?
Yes, very well.
Someone at my board meeting yesterday had indicated that they were going to put a 311 in for excuses. That is now, he owns that building. He owns that, and
Yeah.
it is now painted black, and someone said that they did see a smoker in the back. So
We've
I don't
gotten
know.
some calls into the office
Mhm.
about some work being done inside. And I don't know if permits have been pulled or not. My understanding is there's nothing posted for permits. And I don't want to quite get down the road yet of calling David. I'm close to doing that. I'd rather get the ducks in the row and make certain that there are indeed permits pulled or not pulled before I go to him, but that's definitely the next step there.
And again, remember that the facade, anything that's done to the facade needs to go to the Historic Review Commission. And you were with me, Bruce, when we were talking with the guys that were putting up the sign for what used to be Jimmy John's and I forget, it's Doe something or other. And they did give me the name of the phone number and name of a person to whom I should talk, because they certainly were not aware of any permits. And also nothing was being posted. I believe it was a couple of days later, no one called me after I sent a text saying that I wanted to talk with someone. So I did go to corporate, their website, and wrote up, what the issue was, and that I had spoken with the guys that were putting the sign up. And I did get a call from, I think one of the owners. I don't know if he's a franchise owner or something else, or owner in the whole business. But he said that he did get permits and had them. Now, nothing was posted, but what he said was, and Thomas, this may be something for you. He was never told that he was in a historic district and that he needed to do something other than what he had already done. So I didn't have a chance to send anything to Thomas, but I'll follow this up with an email. I don't remember his name. I have a phone number, but I did give him Sarah Quinn's email address for him to get in contact with her. And we did talk about the business, and I think they're a franchise. They have maybe 170 stores around the United States. But what I thought was interesting was that when I asked how they knew to come to East Carson Street, he indicated that it was I guess the corporation or whomever owns Insomnia Cookies. So I thought that was interesting. And I did say that I noticed at the time Facebook, it was indicated that they would be open from 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. And I gave him some information about the challenges with a business that stays open past 2 p.m. and shared a bit about CambodiaCon. And he did say that he's aware of the issues and that they've been in other places where there may be some similarities. So he was aware of it. And but he appreciated that I did share that information with him. So I think I have a phone number for him if we want to get in touch with him about anything else. But the guy was really very, very nice.
This is the first I've heard of this. Like, what kind of business is it? Is it like a fast food or?
I think it's
desserty?
Calzones.
Oh, okay.
It had calzones and I think chicken wings, maybe sandwiches. So
Great, we're the same.
When you see, they probably, because Jimmy John's was that kind of business, they probably don't have to do too much to make it their own
Build
business.
out, yeah.
But I'm sorry, Barbara. Those of you that have been in Jimmy John's previously know how compact that space was. And there were like maybe 3 deuces in there, 3 two-tops to actually dine in. So that would appear that a lot of what they're going to sell in terms of chicken wings and calzones is takeout, and that's going to be all over the 1700 block of Carson on Saturday and Sunday mornings.
Well, and in a very problematic block, historically problematic with behavior late at night. So not crazy about it being to go.
Yeah, it marvels me that employers are willing to put or able to find employees to put in very difficult situations late at night. If you notice the get-go at 18th and Sarah, it's closing at like midnight now. It used to be a 24-hour operation. But it does not do that anymore, and for quite a while now. And I think it has something to do with liability, I suspect, of having employees in difficult situations that
Mhm.
them from being open late like that.
The place is called DP Dough, DOUGH.
Hmm.
So you can Google it.
Okay, thank you.
But again, I can contact him when I'm back just to have a conversation with him. I think it's similar to when you, and I give the example of parking here on South Side. You know, you move down here and everyone tells you how difficult it is to park on the South Side. And you think, well, how bad can it be? And then you're there the first week and, you know, you're riding around because you can't find a parking spot, you know, at 9, 10 o'clock at night. And you realize it's not easy. So it may be they're, you know, I'm sure they've paid their rent, they're doing everything they need to do, but just to have an understanding that give them the information that they may not have, but also let them know that we're there to support them. Because when I mentioned to him that I had talked with the guys that were putting the signs in, they said, oh, we're putting this up and we're heading to Chicago because we're going to we do other work for the business. And I said, I hope you know, I was kind to them. I wasn't mean. And I hope you understand that I'm trying to be supportive in communicating with you. And he seemed to understand that. So, and he was, as I said, he was very, very nice.
Their website looks very oriented to delivering to the student market. It looks very heavy delivery oriented. So that's actually a better thing. So
Yeah.
a semi ghost kitchen, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the difficulty that presents just entering and exiting that very, very tight space. And we already know from past experience, the difficulty of how situations can escalate in very tight quarters like that.
Yep.
Well, and when you, yeah, and I mean, there's, I'm sure there's footage that with what's happening with on a regular basis with Camboticon Kitchen.
Yeah, and you know, it says they've worked in the student market for a long time in cities that have students, and it's like, you know, I did consulting in pretty much every party school in the nation, and it's not what is happening in today's society. It's completely different. So they may be a little unprepared.
Yeah, and you want them to be successable because again, it's, you know, two things. One, it's a storefront that now is not empty. And two, it's I guess Insomnia, the people corporate, I guess with Insomnia Cookies, or I don't think it's the owner of the property, but someone said it's a good market, but no one's going into Insomnia Cookies as they do in other, they're not selling tacos at Insomnia Cookies. So
well, Insomnia does the student market too, and they're also in Oakland. And so, and they deliver cookies. So I can see where they would have communicated this would be a good student market for them.
Yeah.
Thanks, Barbara.
All right.
Thank you, Barbara.
I think that's, go ahead.
I just want to maybe one final thing that to report that the Southside hospitality businesses have come together, and they have officially incorporated as a nonprofit called Southside Hospitality Partnership. And they're being very engaged and working with residents, working with police, and doing some really heavy lifting right now, and just really proud of them, and hope that they will be a part of this meeting at some point.
Yeah, I think that I think I sent something out recently to the members about, or it might have been last month, about what I envision like a change with you know, and so what I want to do, and I knew that I didn't want to do it, you know, for this meeting, but just to show what in the neighborhood plan, what it says, everything about what the planning forum is, the structure, who can belong, what they need to do in order to belong, you know, that consensus and all, you know, put that on one side of a chart. And then, you know, what I'm thinking about for the other side, you know, what are we now? And just something simple, you know, we're not a planning forum anymore, but we're a community forum. You know, this should be and so, you know, that may be a change in the name. And, you know, then we as the member organizations and representatives need to talk about, you know, how do you become part of you know, who becomes members. And I think that in the past, using the guidelines and the structure that we had for the planning forum, I think the Bar and Restaurant Association had to, I don't know if whether they had to become a 501c3, but they needed to have a board and, you know, some other structures in place. And these guys are doing that. But we don't want to make it difficult for them to come in. And because it's, you know, we're different than we were maybe in 1989 or 1985. And so I have been thinking about some things and do want to share them.
This is not a new conversation for planning forum. We went down this road 4 or 5 years ago, maybe, I lose track of time, to discuss what an expansion of planning forum could look like with hospitality, however we define that being having a role, arts and entertainment having a role, and university having a role. And if you remember, for the longest time, we had representatives from Duquesne University that attended regularly, and we had James from City Theater that attended regularly too.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm glad to have this discussion again for whatever role I play in it, but I'm certainly happy to have entertain this discussion again.
Yeah, someone had to like move it forward, and believe me, I think about this quite a bit because we're, you know, with everything that we're doing here, we can't, especially I think with the UPMC Walnut Capital work that's going to begin, there needs to be a place that people can say, okay, 5:30 on Tuesdays, we're going to be able to hear information about the work that's being done there, and then other work. And then the question is, how do we get more people to attend and so that this is where they do get their information. You know, sometime, you know, at some point, if in the past, we would get it from the South Side Reporter. You know, you didn't necessarily have to come to this meeting because it was all in the South Pittsburgh Reporter, but you know, that has changed. And, you know, you know, we've become a different community, especially with the slopes and the community council becoming registered community organizations. So, you know, our role as a planning forum has changed.
Agreed.
So I think that if there's nothing else for Bruce and Allison, we can move to I think it's the development activity meeting reports. We did not, last month or this month, we have not had a development activities meeting. Cara, what about you all?
We have not either.
Yeah. So I have some other zoning information, and, you know, we'll share that. I can probably share that now. If I find my notes that I did put together. And for some reason I can't find them, but oh, here they are. There's June 15th, there will be a zoning hearing for, with Hyatt, the Hyatt Hotel at Southside Works. They want a high wall signage variance that would look, that if you were on Second Avenue, you could see it. And they had gone once to the zoning board, and they were asked if they had met with the community, and they had not. They didn't meet the criteria for a dam. And we did see it in the zoning meetings that were coming in the future. And we didn't make contact with them. And really, we don't see the sign. So I'm not sure that we were seeing that it was problematic or there was a need for any discussion. However, zoning, the ZBA wants them to work with us so that it's evident that they worked with the community. McKnight Realty is, there will be a zoning hearing at the High Line for a projecting sign. And I think it might be for burgers, if that's the business that's going down there. And so that will occur. I don't have the date for that, but I think that might be July 6th. I'm not sure. And then July 13th, a house is going before Judge Riccardi, 27 South 18th Street. And if you are going down to the Riverfront Park, there is a house that is huge. I mean, it's an older home, and they have begun to it's been a while, but they're putting on a third or fourth floor, a deck. They met with us, I think it was the architect or the real estate agent, the applicant, and we worked with them because what they were proposing is not permitted with it zoning. They needed a variance, and we were not in support of that. When they began working on the property, they seemed to disregard. They changed their architectural plans based on their discussion with community council, and that was submitted to the zoning board, but they don't seem to be using it. So they are now, I believe they were to make some changes. They have not made the changes that they needed to make. So now it's going before Judge Riccardi, and that'll be on July 13th. So I'll be in attendance for that with all the documentation. And then we have two residents from the Muse, one who is on our zoning committee, and the other who is a resident who can also speak on the work that what we've done in the past and how this isn't consistent with that work. So
Is that if you're going down 18th Street, is it heading towards the river? Is it on the right hand side?
on the
and
right hand side?
The last house before the actual Muse?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yep. It's huge. I mean, it's really high. So,
Yep.
And I think that's all I have as far as reports around development. And so we can go to community reports. Cara, if you'd like to go first.
Sure. So we are currently having a flower contest in the Southside Slopes, and we're trying to get anyone who lives in the slopes to sign up, like maybe Candace.
Thank you.
Who has some flowers out front or any sort of garden out front. We have prizes for best potted situation and then best lawn, like garden situation. So that is, we yeah, at the end of this week, we are closing to people signing up, and then we're going to be publishing a map of all the locations for neighbors to go around and vote for their favorite, and the favorite will also win a prize. And that will be announced at our summer picnic on Tuesday, July 11th, that you're all invited to, which will be once again at Bandisham Community Garden, and we will have La Palapa food truck there again, serving tacos. And then
Cara,
the
what's
last,
the date there?
the summer picnic is Tuesday, July 11th.
Thank you.
Yep, at Bandisham. And then, yeah, the last thing is we are progressing on adding a mural to the Arlington Rec Center. And we're in the design phase right now, and we are planning a just little pop-up meeting at the rec center on Monday, June 26th, where we'll be showing and getting feedback on some initial designs based on our survey results. So after that, we'll have to go through art commission, and then after that, hopefully implementing the project.
Candace? Community
Yeah.
Chamber.
Okay, let me just move from the minutes here. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm working on two computers, so excuse my looking sideways here. So we hosted a lot of things for the Open Streets event on May 28th. The route this year was North Shore to downtown, to South Side up to 21st Street and back again. We shared a tent with Southside Smart Streets, and Phil Sauter was our DJ. Melanie Todoroff was our dancing dinosaur. Very popular with the kids, and a lot of selfies. Some of the dogs, however, did not like the dinosaur, so that was an interesting challenge. We had a great time. We had a free raffle. We had one of the Commonwealth Press no parking chairs. And we got a lot of people who were interested in that. And coincidentally, a guy named Seth from Bike Pittsburgh won the chair. And I did let him know that it's a treasured item in the South Side. And I was only going to release the chair if he promised to take really good care of it. And he was hysterical. He said, I'm going to take the chair and I'm going to love it. Anyhow, so that was a lot of fun. On May 29th, we worked with the Southside Vietnam veterans to prepare the 18th and Carson block for their ceremony early in the morning. It was between, I think it started around 9 o'clock. And Kitty Bagley and the veterans planted some new flowers. The chamber and chamber volunteers weeded the block and got there early on the ceremony morning to clean up the block so that it was welcoming to everybody. It was very nice. We had a large crowd, and we washed down the marble memorial, and the veterans raised new flags. So it was a very nice ceremony. So I did want to close with reminding everybody that we're having the Southside Summer Golf Classic on Monday, July 31st at the South Hills Country Club. We'll have a lot of businesses and friends and some residents involved. We have, of course, we'll have at least 72 golfers. We'll have lunch and dinner for the golfers and the dinner guests. We'll have a raffle at the end. It's always a lot of fun. Everybody's welcome. If you're interested, you can check our website. We'd love to have you. Thank you.
Okay, so with the Southside Community Council, we had, after 3 years, we had our home tour on June 5th, and 207 people attended. We had 8 houses on the tour, and there were Southsiders there, those who didn't live on Southside, and our registration was at Vellum Fermentation, and it was nice having it there because people came back, they had a beer, they were sitting on the loading dock, and we were able to talk with a number of them and heard, I think as we all know, people were saying that they were hesitant about coming to Southside because of the news media and the negative publicity that we have been getting. But they really had a nice experience, and a number of them had gone. We were recommending different restaurants for them to have brunch at, and so the feedback was very positive. It also gave us an opportunity, and then we asked the volunteers and the homeowners to engage with the visitors when they had the opportunity to just explain how much they liked living on Southside, and and give them, in a sense, the real story, if in fact they did know the real story. But if you're living on 24th Street, you can certainly share that. It's pretty quiet there on weekends. And again, all the reasons why it's great to be living here on Southside. With the garden tour is on July 9th, and then Goat Fest will be on July 29th. And the garden tour is on a Sunday. Goat Fest is on a Saturday. So that was it for Community Council. Lynn, anything you'd like to share with UPMC? We do want to thank you for allowing us to use the parking lot for the home tour.
Well, you're very welcome, and no, I don't have any updates, but I'm looking forward to Goat Fest.
Yeah,
I had a good time there last year.
good. Kathy.
Let's see. I would like to mention, as a member of the Pittsburgh Presbytery Peacemaking ministry team, I've been working very hard with others within the Presbytery, that is Presbyterians in Allegheny County, on advocating for and speaking out as churches for voting rights for everybody. As you may or may not know, voting rights have been seriously curtailed in various parts of the country, and that's really a problem. We believe God loves everybody, and God wants everybody to be able to vote freely and easily in a democracy. And so I just want to mention that if you can, this would be an ideal time to urge your US senators from Pennsylvania and congressperson and president to get national legislation done, because what's happening in, I believe, 24 states out of 50 have passed voter suppression laws within the last 2 years. And it's going to radically change how elections turn out. And it's a real big problem. So that's my little, a little more than I usually say. But if you can spread the word about that, do it yourself. That would really be helpful, I think, to our community and to the country. And God bless you.
Okay. Thank you, Kathy. Thanks for that good work. And it's on us to continue it. So Jessica.
So I am in Harrisburg this week, and well, every week in June. It's we're passing the budget, hopefully on time, fingers crossed. So I'm in a hotel room. I don't have great service or Wi-Fi, so if I break up a little bit, I apologize on that front. We had a very successful blood drive in Southside this week, which was very exciting. We partnered with the VFW on that, and it was a really great partnership. It was wonderful. My staff said they liked seeing a lot of folks from the community come out. I was sadly not there because I am in Harrisburg and therefore missing everything fun that is happening in June. So that was our kind of event update. We don't have a ton of other events happening until later this summer. We'll have another shredding event, but I'll get you all that information once we're a little bit closer to the date. Things are moving along really well legislatively on a number of priorities that I think will have a direct impact on the South Side, particularly my bill for public safety grants for liquor license saturated areas is now scheduled to get a committee vote later on in June here. So that has been sunshined and calendared, and I'm very excited about that. Though I'm also trying to just get that into one of the budget code bills, in which case it would be completely done. We'll see discussions and negotiations still moving forward on that. But regardless, it is getting a vote at the end of this month in committee. So I'm very, very excited to see that. We got all of the stakeholders, LCB, et cetera, everybody on the same page. And so I'm very, very happy to finally see that moving forward. Other big budget things that I think folks probably care about in the community. We have passed a number of things to the House that are headed to the Senate and have, I think, a decent shot in the budget. One was an expansion of the child care tax credit to gradually have it increase to match the federal one. I think that's got a good shot of being in the final package. We also passed an expansion of the property tax rent rebate program, which would make about 175,000 more Pennsylvanians than are currently eligible be eligible for that program. That I think has a pretty good shot of landing in the final deal. And then we also passed a draft budget that includes some historic increases for so far in our area for Pittsburgh Public Schools, for education funding. And I do think, I mean, the final numbers will be what the final numbers are, but we will see, primarily because of the courts forcing us to come to agreement there, we will see a pretty big public education spending increase. So I am excited about that. If folks have any particular legislative questions for me or other questions about state level issues, I'm happy to answer them, but that's some of the stuff that I've received questions about lately that I don't think I've mentioned in a Southside community meeting yet.
Hey, any questions for Jessica? So I have a proposal here, I guess. And Bruce, you may be the only one that remembers this. Maybe Candace does. What we used to do in previous years with the planning forum, because of summer, we did not have a July meeting and an August meeting. And instead we had one meeting, and it was the last Tuesday in July. And that can be helpful with the slopes picnic too, because it's, they're both on the same day. So would people,
Last Tuesday would be the slopes board meeting. Obviously I'm the only one who would be on that, but the slopes board would not be able to send someone, I guess.
yeah.
Or it would be difficult.
So, okay, so would July, well, wait a minute. And the first Tuesday in August is National Night Out.
What
So
about July 18th?
yeah, what about July 18th? Those in attendance. Would that be fine?
Fine with me.
Okay. Okay. Okay, then our next meeting will be Tuesday, July 18th. And we will not have a meeting in August. We'll come back in September. It'll be September 12th, but It's July 18th and then September 12th. Thomas, you're sharing something. What are you sharing?
Yes, yeah, I wanted to just share the news. There was a press release that went out today, and the two RFPs for the comprehensive plan have been released.
Okay.
So I wanted to share those links. I know there's been a lot of interest on the south side on kind of understanding more what the comprehensive plan involves, and so would encourage you to check those out, and that point you in that direction to review those if you're interested in learning more.
So, excuse me, Thomas, for the minutes, what are these RFPs for?
For the comprehensive plan
I
for the
see,
city, so
okay.
we're looking at vision towards 2050 for City of Pittsburgh, looking at land use and a number of different planning and public policy topics centered around just transition and climate justice.
So are these the mayor's press releases or?
There was a press release in coordination with the mayor's office that went out. The process will be managed through city planning department, but there's certainly close coordination with the mayor's office.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank
And I
you.
do want to share that, thank you, Thomas. I wanted to share that I did go to one of the budget meetings. It was held in Sheridan, and I did have an opportunity to talk with a number of departments, and then also had an opportunity to introduce myself personally to Lisa Frank and a few other people that I've only met through Zoom. And so it was, it was a worthwhile time. I think Don Berman may have gone to the meeting in Homewood, but I haven't checked to see if that was the case. So, we're doing better than we have in previous years in presenting things that the community council would like to see. So can chalk one up for us here. And we do know that, and I can even send this out in an email, that I think it's now the department heads are sharing with the mayor. And Bob, you may know more about this. They're sharing information with the mayor as to what they would like to see in the 2024 budget from their particular departments. And at some point, I don't know if it's August or September, probably September, there'll be an opportunity for public comment. Will that be with the mayor or with city council?
That would be with city council at that point.
Okay.
The the mayor will release a preliminary budget, and then that's when we get to start looking at it.
Okay. So if there's nothing else, it's 11:37 here, which isn't bad compared to yesterday's meeting. So
Well,
have a
have a
nice
wonderful time, Barbara. Enjoy.
yes. All right. Have a nice evening, everyone.
Thank you,
Right.
Barbara,
You too.
for participating. We're
All
happy
right.
to have you. Safe travels.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, God
Night,
bless
everyone.
you.
Thank you.